Inside a dimly lit university hostel room, Grace sat before her mirror, brushing her long curly human hair wig. She sighed, admiring how the golden brown strands shimmered under the faint light. It was her most expensive wig, one she had ordered from an international vendor. She had worn it earlier that day, but as usual, she had lent it to her best friend Iso, who had just returned it an hour ago. A sharp chill ran down Grace's spine. Something felt wrong. Her fingers trembled as she reached for the wig, about to place it back on the mannequin head when suddenly. Boom! The lights flickered and the room went dark. A strange, unsettling presence filled the air. Grace's breath hitched as she heard a faint whisper. Ade. Ade. She froze. Her reflection in the mirror flickered, and then a distorted shadowy version of herself grinned at her from inside the glass. She screamed. Everything went black, before the strange occurrences. Before the betrayals. Before the whispers in the dark. Before Grace's world turned into a nightmare. There was friendship. Beautiful. Unbreakable. Or so she thought. Grace and Iso had been best friends since childhood. They had grown up together in the heart of Benin City, in the vibrant streets of Hosu, where the scent of bunga soup and peppered snails filled the air. Their mothers were close, their fathers business partners, and their bond was believed to be one woven by the gods. When they both got admission into the prestigious Royal Heritage University, it was only natural that they became roommates. Grace was from a wealthy family, while Iso, though not poor, had never experienced the kind of luxury Grace was used to. Grace had everything. Beautiful clothes, luxury handbags, the latest iPhone, and most importantly, wigs. Oh, her wigs were a thing of envy. She had all types, long, short, curly, bone straight, water wave. She owned wigs made from the finest human hair imported from Brazil, India, and Vietnam. And she was generous with them. Iso, who had only one or two synthetic wigs, was always borrowing Grace's wigs. At first, Grace didn't mind. Bestie, you know I can't let you go out looking anyhow. Take this one, it will fit you well. Iso would always beam with excitement, wear the wig, and return it days later, but something strange started happening. Every time Iso returned a wig, Grace felt off. At first it was little things, mild headaches, sudden dizziness. But then the dreams started. She would see herself in strange places. Dark forests. Old shrines. Standing before masked figures who whispered things she could never remember upon waking. Still, she ignored it. Until the real nightmare began. It started with a failed test. Grace had always been an A student. She was sharp, disciplined, and hardworking. But one day she wrote an exam she was sure she had aced, only for the result to come out as an F. She couldn't believe it. She went to meet the lecturer, Dr. Okosan, a strict but fair man, and pleaded with him to check again. He did. There was no mistake. The script in front of him was hers. But the handwriting was almost unrecognizable, scribbles and nonsense. Grace was baffled, then more things followed. She started losing things. Her favorite gold bracelet, her designer shoes, even money. Her ATM card disappeared, only to reappear in places she had already searched. Her phone screen cracked mysteriously. And one evening, while standing in front of the mirror, she saw a figure standing behind her. She turned, but no one was there. Still, she refused to believe anything was wrong. Then one day, she fainted in the middle of the campus. When she woke up, she was in the hospital. Iso was right beside her, holding her hand, eyes filled with concern. Bestie, you scared me. You have been overworking yourself. You need to rest. Grace nodded weakly, but deep down something didn't feel right. The breaking point came one fateful evening. Grace had grown more cautious. She had started keeping her wigs locked in a special drawer, only lending them out occasionally. One evening, Iso begged to borrow one of her most cherished wigs for a party. Just for tonight please, my sister. You know I will return it first thing in the morning. Grace hesitated. Something inside her screamed no. But she didn't want to sound selfish, so she handed it over. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept tossing and turning until she heard the sound of voices. Isoa's voice, along with others, whispering outside their hostel window. Curious, Grace tiptoed to the window and peeked outside. Her heart almost stopped. Isoa was standing beneath a mango tree with two strange-looking women, holding Grace's wig in her hands. One of the women, an old woman with tribal marks, took the wig, held it up, and started chanting. Grace's entire body went cold. Isoa had always told her she returned the wigs after using them, but now she realized the horrifying truth. Her best friend was taking them elsewhere. For what? Why? Her heart pounded as she heard the old woman whisper, her destiny is already shifting. Just a few more times and all that is hers will be yours. Grace staggered back, her legs weak. Isoa was the cause of all her problems. Her own best friend. Tears burned her eyes. She felt like vomiting, all the love. All the kindness. Had it all been a lie, Isoa was not just borrowing her wigs. She was offering them for something darker. Something beyond Grace's understanding. And it was working. Grace had lost grades, money, even her peace of mind. She had to stop this. She had to fight. But how? And most importantly, was it already too late? Grace stood frozen at the window, her breath caught in her throat. Her heart pounded against her ribs, threatening to break free. The realization hit her like a tidal wave. Her best friend. Her sister in all but blood. Isoa. She had been behind everything. The whispers outside continued, but Grace couldn't bear to listen anymore. She stumbled back to her bed, her mind racing. What was she supposed to do? Confront Isoa? Pretend she didn't see anything? Run away? She had no answers. The next morning, Isoa returned the wig with a bright smile. Placing it gently in Grace's hands, "Bestie, thank you oh. This your wig too fine. See as everybody day admire me yesterday," she chirped, twirling playfully. Grace forced a smile, nodding, though her fingers burned as they held the cursed wig. "You're welcome," she muttered, her throat dry. For the first time, she noticed something. Something sinister in Isoa's eyes. A glint. A flash of something unreadable. Something wrong. But she said nothing. She was too afraid. Days passed. Grace started feeling worse. The headaches worsened, coming in sharp, blinding waves that left her dizzy and weak. Her once radiant skin started losing its glow, becoming dull and lifeless. Then came the nightmares. Every night she found herself trapped in a dark endless forest, hearing whispers in a language she didn't understand. Hands reached out from the shadows, clawing at her, tugging at her hair, whispering her name, Grace. Grace. She would wake up drenched in sweat, her heart thudding in terror. Her friends started noticing the changes. "Grace, are you okay? You don't look good," one of her course mates, Ivy, asked one day after class. "You're losing weight oh, Abby na heartbreak." Another girl teased. Grace forced a laugh, shaking her head. "I'm fine. Just stress." But she wasn't fine. Then the worst happened. One morning she woke up to find red itchy rashes spreading across her arms. She gasped, staring in horror. "What is this?" she whispered, scratching at the spots. Within days, the rashes spread. They covered her back, her neck, even her face. It didn't stop there. Painful boils started appearing. Big, red, pus-filled boils that throbbed and burned. She couldn't hide them. Her friends started avoiding her. Some whispered that it was spiritual. Others said it was karma. She too day do shakara. Maybe she don go collect for where she no suppose go. This thing no be normal sickness oh. She needs deliverance. Even her lecturers noticed. Her favorite professor, Dr. Osahan, called her aside after class. "Grace, my dear, have you seen a doctor?" She nodded. Yes sir, but the drugs are not working. Dr. Osahan sighed, his expression grave. Go home, my child. Go and find help. That night, as she lay in bed, Iso walked in. Bestie, what is all this? She asked, her voice filled with fake concern. I don't know, Grace croaked, hugging herself. Iso sat beside her, rubbing her back. Sorry oh. You know what, let me help you braid your hair so you can cover the rashes on your scalp. Grace tensed. No need, she said quickly. Iso's eyes flickered. Are you sure? I can even lend you one of my wigs if you want. Grace's stomach twisted. Her wigs? When had Iso started buying human hair wigs? She had never had money for such things. Unless she had taken everything from her. Grace swallowed hard. No, I'm fine, she whispered. For the first time, she saw it clearly. Iso wasn't just her friend. She was her enemy. And she had been blind all along. By the end of the semester, Grace was a shadow of herself. Her skin was covered in sores, her body weak, her once beautiful face now unrecognizable. She was failing her courses. Her social life was gone. She barely had the strength to eat. And yet, Iso continued borrowing her wigs, this one fine dye, bestie. Just for 2 days, a beg. Grace was too tired to argue. She let her take them, then one night, as she lay in bed drifting in and out of painful sleep, she heard voices outside her window again. This time, she was ready. Weakly, she dragged herself up, tiptoed to the window, and peeked outside. There was Iso again, standing under the mango tree. But this time, she wasn't alone. A group of women stood around her, their faces painted with white chalk, their hands raised towards the sky. In Iso's hands was Grace's favorite wig, the one she had worn on the day she won the school's beauty pageant last year. The women chanted in eerie, hypnotic voices. Iso held up the wig. Let all that she has be mine. Her beauty. Her fortune. Her destiny. I take them all. Grace's knees buckled. It was true. Iso had been stealing her destiny. Her wigs weren't just wigs. They were channels. And every time she lent one out, she was giving away a piece of herself. She had to put a stop to it. But how? She had no one. No strength. No help. Until she remembered the woman her grandmother used to talk about. A powerful prophetess, summoning every ounce of strength left in her body. Grace made a decision. She was going home. She packed a small bag and, without telling anyone, boarded the first bus to Benin City. Her mother wept when she saw her. Jesus! Grace, what happened to you? Mama! Help me! Her mother didn't waste time. She took her straight to Prophetess Aya Omaru, a renowned woman of God known for her ability to see hidden things. The moment the woman saw Grace, she gasped. Who did you offend? She asked, her voice thick with wisdom. Grace's lips trembled. I don't know. The woman placed her hands on Grace's head and closed her eyes. For a long moment there was silence. Then she spoke, your own sister has been stealing your glory. Grace's heart clenched. She is not my sister. She is my best friend. The woman shook her head. She is your worst enemy. Grace started crying. How do I break free? The woman smiled knowingly. You will fight fire with fire. Tonight we will see who has the real power. The prophetess Aya Omaru instructed Grace to kneel before a burning candle. The room smelled of incense. The rhythmic beating of the talking drum created an eerie spiritual atmosphere. Tonight God and the heavens will bear witness, the prophetess said, dipping her fingers into a bowl of consecrated oil. Grace shivered as the cool oil touched her forehead. Do not be afraid, my child. The enemy has gathered, but they shall scatter. Her mother sat nearby, weeping softly, calling on God, her ancestors, and every force of good to help her daughter. You must listen carefully, the prophetess continued. Omoh has taken more than just your beauty. She has taken your light, your favor, and your destiny. That is why you suffer. But the Spirit has spoken. He will fight for you. Tonight, you must not sleep. We will call upon the heavens to return all that was stolen. Grace nodded weakly, her body aching, her soul desperate. At that same hour, miles away, Omoh was at another gathering. She stood before the same old woman, deep in a shrine hidden within the thick forests outside Benin City. The air was thick with the scent of burning herbs, the walls of the shrine lined with red and black markings. A small calabash filled with murky water sat before them. Floating in it was a single strand of golden brown hair. The final step is near, the old woman said, stirring the water. Tonight her soul will be weakened, and all she has will be yours forever. Omoh smiled. She is already finished. By tomorrow, she won't be able to rise from her bed. The old woman chuckled darkly. Then let us begin. She threw some black powder into the fire, and thick smoke rose. Omoh took out Grace's most recent wig, the one she had borrowed just days ago. She held it high above the fire. I take everything. Let her be nothing but dust, she chanted. The fire roared, and at that exact moment, back in the prophet's room, Grace let out a blood-curdling scream. Grace's body convulsed violently as unseen hands seemed to pull at her. Her skin burned. Her head felt like it was splitting in two. Her mother cried out. Prophetess, what is happening? The prophetess stood firm, raising her staff. They are trying to claim the final piece of her soul. But they will fail. She turned to Grace, her voice fierce. Say these words after me. Grace could barely speak, but she tried. I reject every stolen glory. I take back what is mine. I break every evil chain. The moment she uttered those words, the candle beside her exploded. The air grew thick with a powerful electric charge. Omoh, miles away in the shrine, suddenly stumbled backward. What is happening? She screamed, as her body shook uncontrollably. The old woman's eyes widened. Something is resisting. Someone is fighting back. The fire in the shrine dimmed. The wig Omoh held turned to ashes in her hands. No. This is impossible. And then the shrine itself began to tremble. Back in the prophet's home, Grace was now on her feet. A new strength had filled her body. Her boils began to fade, the rashes disappearing before their very eyes. The prophetess raised her hands higher. Every stolen star. Return. A deafening boom shook the ground. Omoh, back in the shrine, let out a piercing scream as she was thrown to the ground. Blood oozed from her nose, her body trembling. My power. My beauty. She wailed. The old woman grabbed her, shaking her violently. You fool. You have lost everything. The spirits have rejected you. Omoh's eyes widened in horror. For the first time, she saw it. Her skin was changing. Her body, once glowing and perfect, was now covered in the same boils and rashes that had tormented Grace. No. This can't be happening. The old woman tried to escape, but before she could, a mighty wind blew through the shrine, knocking down the clay pots and scattering the burning embers. Omoh screamed as fire licked at her skin. Help me. She begged, but there was no one left to save her, and as the shrine collapsed, Grace took a deep breath. Finally free, the next morning. Grace woke up to find herself fully healed. Her mother wept tears of joy, hugging her tightly. My daughter, you are whole again. Grace smiled for the first time in months. The prophetess watched with knowing eyes. The battle was won in the spirit before it was won in the physical, she said. Grace nodded. She had learned her lesson the hard way. Not all friends were truly friends. Some came to steal. To destroy. To betray. And now, she knew better. Back at the university, the news spread like wildfire. Omoh had been found the next morning, her body covered in sores, her beauty gone. Her classmates whispered in horror, what happened to her? She looks like a shadow of herself. Eso dropped out shortly after, unable to face the world.
As for Grace, she never lent another wig again. She returned to school stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever. Her life, her destiny, her beauty, everything that was stolen had been restored. And this time, she would protect it at all costs. Not everyone who smiles with you is truly your friend. Some friendships are blessings, while others are disguised curses. Be careful who you share your life, your possessions, and your trust with. Because not all hands that touch you wish you well.